another story time. You guys love the story time videos and I love telling them as well. However, my story times are always a little bit crazy. I like to let my stories kind of like, I say marinate, but basically just spend some time in the back of my mind before I tell them, because my story times are never to hurt people or open up fresh new wounds or to like dox anyone or expose anyone. It's literally just because I like to tell stories. So that's why the stories that I tell are usually quite old. I'm 20 now, but this story happened when I was 16 years old. The story is based on how I slept with my teacher. Okay, disclaimer. The title is low-key clickbait, but I did sleep with some form of a teacher, but it wasn't a teacher from my school. Before you go researching into my school, I didn't actually sleep with a teacher. I slept with a camp leader at a camp that I attended after I left school. So technically, I guess it's a teacher, but it's not a teacher. To set the scene, I just left school and I just finished my GCSEs and I absolutely flunked my exams. 15 and 16 were really hard years for me. I'm not going to blame it solely on my living situation, but it did take me 2 hours to get to school. I would have to wake up at 5 a.m. I didn't really have time to study. It was really a hard time in my life. I completely failed my GCSEs. I got like an A star in drama and I got like a C or a B in English, but the rest of them I got like D's. I was advised by my school when I was leaving that during my summer holidays and kind of like my time off before I go to college or whatever I want to do, like sixth form, etc., I should go to like a summer camp to get it on my CV. For some reason that shit's supposed to help you. I was like, cool, like let me do that. So I wanted to just like better my CV as much as possible because I completely flopped my exams. I lived in Bicester at the time because I was living with my dad for that period of time, and I was actually about to get kicked out, but at that time I still lived there. So I lived in Bicester, but originally I'm from Oxford, but the camp that I was attending for summer camp was not in Oxford or Bicester. It was very far away from my hometown. I was excited, but I was kind of nervous because I did not know anybody that was attending this camp. Most people from Oxford or Bicester, they don't go to this camp specifically for their summer thing. I wanted to really push myself out and try and do a camp that was far away so I'd meet new people. And also this camp was better for my CV somehow. The course was about 4 weeks for this camp and I was allowed to come home on weekends. I'll show you some pictures of me when I was going. I was kind of low-key cute at the time. I feel like I glowed up when I was 16, 17 and then I kind of flopped back down when I was 18, 19, and then I'm 20 and I'm like, hey, I'm back. We got there and my dad said goodbye and I was stood there with my little suitcase and I remember seeing a group of girls and they were all kind of staring. I went over to introduce myself because I thought maybe there was something interesting happening over there and I wanted to say hello anyway. I went over to this little group of girls, there were about 6 of them. Hey guys, my name's Katie. I was just introducing myself and I could tell that they were like half listening. Like, you know when you're like, yeah, okay, well, hi, yeah, my name's da-da-da-da, and like they're looking off somewhere. So I kind of like look and follow their gaze and I see that they're staring at this guy. When I tell you this guy is the most attractive guy I've ever seen in my life, like, oh my god, I'll briefly describe him. So he was white, but he was like really tanned. Like he looked like he could be like Egyptian, Middle Eastern or something, olive tan, but he was white. He had these really piercing green, like hazily eyes, and you could see like his eyes from far away. Like that's how you know the eyes are really bright because they're like far away. He was probably like 6'2", so like I'm 5'9", so I was like, period, like he has a tall person, like I can't believe there's gonna be a hot guy at the camp. It's like when you're at school and you're like excited to go to school because your crush is there. And I remember all the girls were talking about like, I wonder what school he's come from. Oh my god, he looks so cute. Like I love his clothes, his outfit's so cute. He was wearing like this black tracksuit with a black hoodie. So we're just all talking about this guy, talking about his height, talking about his outfit, talking about his eyes, talking about his tan, talking about everything. He takes off his hoodie and we realize he's wearing a camp leader shirt. And we're like, hold the f on, bitch. We thought this guy was our age. We thought he was on the camp with us, but he's actually like a leader at the camp. All of the camp leaders were very young because they're all like volunteers. So I guess they're trying to get their CV to look good as well. Like they're trying to say, I volunteered for a camp for young people, da-da-da-da. But like this guy looked so young. He could be like 17, 18. Like he could be our age. We are so surprised. Like we thought this guy was part of the camp, but he's a team leader. Like, oh shit. Even though I was low-key like, maybe I still have a chance. Like I never actually deeped that it would happen, but it did. So we all got on the coach and we went to our first campsite, which is about like 2 to 3 hours away. First week we were staying in tents. And we were assigned a group of about 4 or 5 girls per tent. Obviously boys had boys tents, girls had girls tents, and 2 of the girls I'd already met from the coach station when we were talking about the guy. So I got along with these girls really well and we all kind of bonded in our little tent over this guy and about how attractive this mentor teacher guy was. And on day 2 we were put into groups with a team leader or with like 2 team leaders per group, and my group had the guy in it. Like he was the team leader for that group and that team leader would be the leader for the whole week. Oh my god, I'm gonna have this hot team leader for the whole week, I'm so excited. Let's call the guy like Xavier. I don't know, I love the name Xavier, but like let's just call him Xavier for the sake of the video. I was in the group with Xavier as my mentor, trying to figure out how old this guy was. He didn't even have a beard. Like he was very young, very fresh faced. And I was trying to figure out how old he was and I was asking around our group and all that kind of stuff. We found out he was 19. So he was 2 years older than most of the girls, but because I was one of the youngest ones there, I was 16. So I remember all the girls were like making fun of me. They were like, oh, it's only a 2-year age gap for us, but it's a 3-year age gap for you. That's so embarrassing. And like they were just making a joke about it and it was just funny. And I remember we had to do like rock climbing and stuff like that. And I'll show you a picture of me. I look like a rat. I don't know how I thought I had a chance with this really attractive guy, because first of all, he's my team leader, so bitch, you need to stay in your lane. And second of all, this guy was definitely not looking at me like that. I looked like a troll. But I mean, of course, you've read the title of the story time. So eventually I managed. I go home for the weekend, and I remember I come back the next week and I was like, this is my mission. I need to get his social media. So I was like, let me find this guy's Instagram. On week 2, did not have him as my leader for that group that week, but I still got to see him because on week 2, all of the team leaders, again, they were all very young. Like I think the oldest team leader there was like 25. So we all got on really well. When we weren't doing activities, we'd all just kind of stay in the campgrounds and play Uno and like Scrabble and like boring shit games because none of us had phones. I just bought my first ever iPhone when I was 16 with my own money. And so I was really worried about my iPhone and I didn't want to bring it out. So I never brought my phone with me on the first couple of weeks. And we were all hanging out with all the team leaders as well as him. But of course I was looking at him the whole time like, ah. Mind you though, I was in a situationship, it's what I like to call a relationship that's not a relationship, with a crazy ex-boyfriend that I made a story time about. We would see each other on and off, but then he would send me disgusting messages. Like if he saw me with a guy, he would send me pictures and videos of him having sex with other women and be like, you're disgusting, she's so much hotter than you. Like he was very vile and gross. The guy that I was speaking to was like 20, so there was like a 4-year age gap for that. Like I'm used to speaking to people that are a bit older than me at that time, so I didn't really see anything deep about it. But unfortunately, after a couple of weeks of me trying again with this crazy ex that I made a story time about before, but this tried to threaten legal action, so I had to take the story time down. After a couple of weeks of that, he started acting up again and being really disgusting, and I was going through a really hard time.
So yeah, when I see that that's not going anywhere, I just decided, you know what, I do really fancy Xavier, let me shoot my shot.
On the last day of week 2, I finally plucked up the courage to ask Xavier for his Instagram, and then it turns out we actually had a lot of mutual friends, and then he actually slid into my DMs on the Saturday or something like that, I think it was, or the Friday, because obviously we go home on the weekend, and he just sent me a picture. I don't know what the picture was, but then I remember I sent back me drinking some kind of alcohol, because he was like, you're on the sesh already, lol, like something like that. And I remember we kind of spoke on and off for the whole weekend. I was telling him how I was really nervous to bring my phone, but because me and this guy kept arguing, I felt the need to bring it. And then he was like, no, I promise no one's gonna steal your phone, just bring your phone. I had my own money at that point. I started working at a young age, so I had my own money. But I would buy sweets for everyone at the camp because I loved buying sweets for people. So I remember just being like, do you want me to bring you anything? Like I was trying to low-key like be like, do you want me to bring you anything? He was like, no, and I ended up buying him like M&Ms or something like that. Now on week 3 is when it gets a little bit juicy, okay? And we'd moved to a different campsite at this point, and we were moving to one which had like teepees instead of normal tents. The teepees flooded after like 3 days. English summer is still shit, do you know what I mean? Like there's still gonna be rain and everything. And I DM'd him on Instagram and I was like, hey, I think I'm gonna go home because like people are leaving and like the teepees are flooded, like see you next week or something like that. On the weekend of week 3, that ex-boyfriend was being really horrible to me and I was really, really struggling. So I was just texting Xavier and he was just being very kind and very supportive. And I remember he was a little bit worried for me because this guy was threatening to send out indecent images of me and him doing sexual acts. As a 16-year-old girl, I was very easily manipulated by that and I was like, oh my god, it's true, he's gonna do it. Now I know that's CP and he would go to prison. Sorry, I know I keep butting in, but I just want to come on here quickly and say, this is why you need to be super careful when it comes to dating someone older than you. Like, even if the age gap isn't massive and it is just a few years and legally it's okay because you're of the age of consent, this person can still have more knowledge than you do about certain things and they can easily manipulate you, and that is a power dynamic that is not safe. So I learned that the hard way, unfortunately. But looking back, I know I should have been more careful, so I'm just gonna tell that to you as well. And I remember telling Xavier, and Xavier was like, no, like listen, that's illegal, he can't do that, that's revenge P. I'm someone that's always been super paranoid, so like having someone to tell me that was just very nice. But yeah, I was low-key texting my camp leader throughout the course of the camp. Secretly. On week 4, I came back and I was feeling kind of low, and I remember he got me a pillow because I was telling him about how I was really stressed to come back because my pillow was flooded, like it was full of water and it smelled like shit. Here's a pillow, like didn't take the pillow because I was like really sad and I was like, at least I'll have a comfortable night because the pillow that I had was really thin, so he bought me another one. The point is Xavier's very nice. Like Xavier was very sweet and he was not flirting with me in any way, shape or form, but I just wish that he was because I was like, well, I just need somebody to flirt with. I'm going through it and we're coming up to the end of the camp course because obviously it was only going to be 4 weeks, and then on week 3 it flooded, so we went home early, and then on week 4 was our final week and he gave me my pillow so I could sleep better. Very sweet, and it was just very nice, and he was just kind of like a shoulder to lean on, but obviously we didn't want to make that bait. We didn't want anyone in the camp to like be like, bitch, what's going on with you two? We were really not good at hiding that we were friends. Like at one point his boss literally said to him, excuse me, this girl really fancies you, you guys need to stop being friends, like this is bad. And I was like, wait, what? I don't even fancy him, what do you mean? There's literally so many text conversations of him being like, oh, like I just really wish we could be friends, like we'll just have to wait till this is over. But I remember one night I was arguing with my ex and my phone was gonna die. And I remember I texted him at like 11 and I was like, is there any way you can charge my phone for me because my phone's gonna die and I'm arguing with da-da-da. I told all my friends like in the tent, I was like, I'm going to the toilet guys, I'm going to the toilet. I snuck out at like midnight and I met up with him. I met up with Xavier in the staff tent and I charged my phone and we sit there for like half an hour or 45 minutes and we're just talking about life. Like it wasn't just a physical attraction anymore. I actually really, really fancied him. But I knew that I wasn't gonna try and pursue anything with him whilst he was working because obviously that's inappropriate. And I'm talking to him about my situation and all this kind of stuff. And I'm just like, all right, well, thank you so much for having this talk with me. I'm gonna go back to my tent now.
You naughty! You thought we were gonna do something, weren't you? You thought we were gonna do something in the staff tent? No. That comes later, darling.
But yeah, that was the first time we ever met in secret during our camp. And then like a few days later, the camp had ended. He's not my teacher anymore. So like maybe. And I remember I texted him and I was like, hey, do you want to go for a picnic? And we can get some of our mutual friends together because it's still summer and we can go to like South Park. South Park is the biggest park in Oxford and he kindly came all the way from where he lives. I'm not going to say where he lives, but he came really far away and we met up with some of our mutual friends. And then after about like 2 weeks, I think we met up as a group like 3 times at this point. This was like the 3rd time. Our friends left early. I don't know if it was because they knew that I liked him or whatever, but like, yeah, they left early. I remember I was just sitting with him and it was just us. We were like kind of like having like a little tickle fight. I pushed him like lightly onto his back when we were like play fighting and I went like this. Like I remember I was wearing this like silver necklace and it really pissed me off because it was like in my face, like dangling like this. But I remember I leaned in and I kissed him. And then I didn't expect him to kiss me back, but he did. And then we kissed for like a minute. Like we proper made out. And then afterwards we were just kind of like sat there in silence like, I was your camp leader and now we just kissed. The course had ended for the camp, but like that's still how we met, which is like a weird situation because I never saw that happening, but I just took my opportunity to kiss him and I kissed him and he kissed me back. And then after that, we kind of, I guess, stopped just being friends and we tried to like pursue a relationship. I remember we went to like London or something and got a hotel somewhere and we hung out for the weekend and we had my camp leader basically. Turns out we just weren't meant to be. We didn't end up seeing each other for very long. We were never in a relationship, but we are still cool to this day. I don't follow him on any of my social media, but I do keep up with his like Snapchat sometimes and we text each other on our birthdays and we say happy birthday and hope that you're doing good. And we're still cool. He doesn't know that I'm doing the story time, but hey, love you lots. You're still a cool guy and honestly, great that you were there for me when I needed you. So thank you for that. I basically talked to my teacher, guys. It's just funny because all the other girls at the camp were like, I wish I could get a piece of that ass. And I was like, it's my ass, bitch. That is the story of Balamori. Okay, end of the story. And the moral of the story is, if you see a camp leader you find attractive, go f them. I'm joking, don't do that. I'm genuinely being serious. Please do not be influenced to do that. I don't know how it even happened, but definitely don't try and pursue a relationship with your teacher or anything like that, okay? Anyone like that, anyone in a position of power, please don't pursue a relationship with them when you're working with them, even probably afterwards. But me, being a 16-year-old, going through some shit that needed a shoulder to cry on, and this shoulder was fine as I was like, period. Yeah, that happened.